What's going on, guys?
What's up?
Yo.
Welcome, everyone, to the second episode of the Geeking Squad Podcast. Woo!
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah. I, of course, am Larry. Over here across the table down the way, we have
Vito.
And then the glue, the sticky stuff holding us all together. No, you don't like that?
I don't know how that I feel about that.
Yeah, you don't like being the goo?
Goo, I'm the goop.
So if we ever want to fire you, we have to get some gooby gone.
Yeah, if I see that around, I'm going to start getting a little worried.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm Megan.
And yeah, you may or may not know us from the other content that you can find at Geeking Poetic. We do all sorts of shows on YouTube and on various platforms for podcasts, but this is the Geeking Squad Podcast, where we like to talk about all the really cool articles and pop culture stuff that we post about and others post about in the Geeking Squad group over on Facebook. And so we want to, first of all, let's send a hello to all our friends over there, all the squad geeks.
Hi, Scott.
Hello. I thought we were doing the Three Stooges.
Hello.
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 And if everybody hasn't signed off by now, if you're stuck around through all this, thank you for joining us. Yeah, we just talk about stuff that's been brought up over in the group over there. If you haven't joined us in the Geeking Squad group, don't know what the fuck you're waiting for.
Go do it now.
Time's running out.
Exactly.
Actually, it's not. You can sign up whenever you want, but just do it now.
Exactly. But we are going to talk about, I don't know, all sorts of stuff. If you didn't listen to the first episode that we put out recently, we talked about, UFO conspiracy stuff. We talked about books, movies, all sorts of the TV shows, all sorts of stuff. And we're going to just continue on with that, I think. Mm-hmm. First of all, how are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Doing all right.
Yeah. That seemed a little tentative to me.
If I fall asleep in the middle of this, it's not my fault.
You better not. I'm just going to, what we need to get? We need to get like one of those little like prod things, one of those little
cattle prod.
Yeah, maybe not quite. That would probably kill her, but just some kind of like
a little much, Vito.
You can dial back the settings on those, I think. Doesn't have to be full kill mode.
Full kill mode.
Initiating full kill mode.
Like, no.
Yeah, we'll just have to keep kind of poking at you, kicking you under the table or something. Make sure you're still.
We'll get that alien hand squeegee alien hand thing. There you go.
Don't you do that? Don't you fucking do that?
Wake your ass up.
Don't do that to me.
Yeah, people don't even
get yourself
know.
Punched in the face.
We have this. I don't know if anybody at home's ever seen it, but you could go to like a toy store. Well, they don't have toy stores anymore, but you could go to the toy aisle in a store and they have these creepy looking like werewolf monster alien looking hand things.
It's like a grabber or whatever they call
it. Yeah. Like things you use to grab off a high shelf. Well, we have one of those things and Megan fucking hates it. I mean, hates it. It's
creepy as shit. It freaks me out.
It's a kid's plastic toy.
I don't care. It's
the texture is pretty.
It's too realistic.
It's very.
It's fucked up.
Weird feeling.
I guess.
It has many times you grab me in the War of the Worlds teaser with that damn thing. I think you were just doing it on purpose.
Well, of course.
You were enjoying my freak out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once I knew you were freaking out about it, I was like, oh, okay, this is gold.
That scream in that video's for real.
It is for real. Yeah. I was surprised, especially since you knew it was coming because it was all scripted. I was surprised that, I'm surprised that you were such a good actress that you were able to not squirm out of the shot sooner.
It's like, it's coming.
Yeah, because you knew it was coming. Yeah, people, if you don't know what we're talking about, on the Geeking Poetic channel on YouTube, you can see we do like all these goofy little, we call them teasers. They're usually little preemptive videos based on bigger content that we talk about. In the 1 month we were talking about Mars and stuff.
Yeah.
So we did a podcast talking about Mars. So we did a little spoof video kind of thing of War of the Worlds, and Megan was a good sport about it.
It's actually one of my favorite teasers of ours.
Yeah, that one came out pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is really funny. Anyway, I know there's like few cool things that got like brought up and posted about and discussed, some little tidbits and everything, and I think now is as a good time as any to get into it in a little segment that we like to call
What's Shakin' Bacon?
It's never gonna get old.
No.
Oh man, so yeah, there's been a few different things that got brought up. I can start because one of the things I'm really excited about that somebody shared in the Geeking Squad just a few days ago was the announcement that CBS All Access is going to have another Star Trek series coming out soon that's going to be called Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and it is going to center around Captain Christopher Pike's version of the Enterprise. And I know you guys know, but for people at home, if you're not familiar with Captain Pike, he was actually the original captain of the Enterprise, at least in terms of chronologically releasing, Trek, because of course there was Scott Bakula's fucking
Captain Archer.
Yeah, there was his Enterprise, which I don't want to even talk about that. I hope we're never going to talk about that. Are we? Can we just make a vow right now that no matter how much we talk about Trek, we're not going to have to force ourselves to watch Star Trek Enterprise?
I hope not, especially because that fucking theme song, dude.
Oh, it's the worst.
Can't tell you how just pissed off I am with that theme song.
Yeah, that was right off the bat. That just got the whole thing off on the wrong foot. But anyway, in terms of chronologically, the original pilot that was created back in 64, 65 featured Jeffrey Hunter playing Captain Christopher Pike. As we know, Hunter ended up leaving the project before it got greenlit for a full TV show. That's when they got Will Shatner to do it, and the rest is history. But they did end up using some of the footage from the Captain Pike stuff and putting it into a first season episode called The Menagerie, which is my favorite Star Trek thing of all time. And we did a whole review discussion thing about it on our Trekking Poetic segment. You can find that. I think the audio is up as well. Yeah, you can find it on all the different podcast platforms. Or if you want to see us talk about it, it's on YouTube as well. Anyway, ever since I was a kid, I've wanted them to do a full series based on the Captain Pike era of the Enterprise. And while it can't have the original people because they're all old or dead, God, they're all dead. I just thought about that. Jeffrey Hunter died back in the 60s. He died
Shortly after that.
Yeah, he died real young. And then, of course, number one was Michelle Barrett. Roddenberry. She's gone. Of course, Leonard Nimoy's gone now. Like everybody important. I know the one that played the butthead Telosian on there. That actress is gone. They're all gone. So it's all new actors, and I know that this is an offshoot of Star Trek Discovery because they did feature them in a few episodes on Discovery. But we have to make the confession that for as much as we pride ourselves on being such Star Trek fans, we've never watched a single episode of Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah, I had no interest to watch that when it got released because the technology and stuff was well, why would you make it so advanced if we're actually going backwards in the timeline?
Well, that's always been a problem. That was one of my first, and a lot of other fans' first reactions when we saw the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah.
Before we even realized how fucking horrible they were, and they are, don't you two argue with me, before we even realized how horrible they were, and before we had even fully been able to comprehend the existence of Jar Jar Binks.
Oh my God.
One of the poor Jar Jar. But the main thing that stood out to me when I was first watching The Phantom Menace is I was like, holy shit, look at this technology. Look at all these beautiful ships and all this stuff they can do and all this. And I'm like, how do you go from this into A New Hope, you know, that was made at that point 30 years prior. A New Hope was like taking a major technological step backwards from all this stuff that was in. Now, I know they try to kind of explain some of it away that, well, like things were lost and destroyed and ghettoized because of the Empire taking over and all that, but it still wouldn't erase technology.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can see that, but I've heard so much good stuff about Discovery.
Yeah, me too.
I'm
excited to see it now.
Yeah.
I think we need to give it a shot. We can try. If we made it through the last couple episodes of Star Trek Picard.
Yeah, that's true.
We can do this.
Yeah. And, I mean, we're going to be forcing Megan to have to watch Voyager.
Oh, Jesus Christ, really? All right, watch Janeway cry every episode. Here it comes.
She doesn't cry every
She
episode.
fucking does.
No, she doesn't. She hardens up over time.
She's like my second favorite captain.
Whoa.
Seriously.
I could see that.
Like, she's fucking badass, man. Like, in the later seasons, like, holy shit.
She is.
Great.
She really is. No,
I haven't
she
even made
really
out
is.
at season 1 yet, so.
Yeah, well, yeah. Even the first season to Next Gen, there's some clunkers in there, man.
Yeah. Yes, there definitely is.
There's some times where I was like, ooh, I don't know if I like these guys more than the Next Gen cast sometimes in some episodes. It's like...
Think about that.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
I know.
And I love the shit out of Next Gen, but some
Yeah.
of those Voyager episodes are like, holy fuck, this is incredible.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know
All
a
right.
bunch of people, Meg, that say they think Voyager's way better than Next Gen overall.
I don't know how I feel about this, guys. Well, I guess we'll find out, won't
Yeah.
we?
We shall see.
We shall see.
But anyway, I'm looking forward to it. Anything that's caught your eye lately? Because there was something you were telling me about earlier that I was like, okay. It seemed weird at first, but I kind of
He's like,
laughed.
oh, okay,
I
whatever.
laughed at it, but then when you explained it, I was like, oh, that makes sense. So there's a concept for making a movie or filming a movie.
Mm-hmm. And the whole concept is to actually film a movie in outer space, Vito.
Fuck yeah.
I had to
Sign me up to be a fucking rigger or something like that. I'll fly up there.
work the cameras and
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Now, who's doing this?
So, I believe it was SpaceX is in process of working with like NASA and stuff to take Tom Cruise to the International Space Station.
And strand his ass there, and so we never hear from him ever again.
Yeah, this is all a ploy to get rid of Tom Cruise. But they're going to send him up there to film an actual space movie in outer space.
That's fucking so cool. And he does his own stunts. And can you imagine if they put him in an EVA suit and he's out there fucking screwing the bolts and shit?
He's gonna want to, you know. I'm sure
course.
he'll want to.
This is going to solidify him as if he wasn't already. But my God, he's going to be huge.
Yeah.
He's going to be a legend.
And he's great in science fiction movies, man. Super good. So that could be a very cool thing.
But their end game here is hoping, because I think one of the directors or whatever saw Tom Cruise in Top Gun when he was a little kid, and he knew from that moment on he wanted to be a Navy pilot. He's like, so I want to do this to inspire little kids for the future to be our next astronauts and to really get this space exploration underway.
Nice.
So.
Because they didn't want to show kids to Armageddon, because that would have been a bad one.
Yeah. Let's not do that. So hopefully this goes well, so it works out for them. But my only qualm here is I love Tom Cruise, and he is great in things. But if you're going to speak to younger generations and stuff like that, is Tom Cruise the best bet, or should you go with a younger, more popular actor?
Yeah,
that is true. Yeah, because I don't know if kids these days really know who Tom Cruise is, besides that crazy Scientologist guy, right?
Exactly. Is that going to hurt them, or?
I think kids know who Tom Cruise is. I think the key to it is going to be he can't just be like the only.
Yeah, maybe
draw.
They do Tom Cruise and a younger one together. Maybe.
Right. If there's other like young actors and actresses in this as well, then yeah.
I can see that being a draw, like Armageddon.
Yeah.
You got Bruce Willis, but you always also have all these.
Yeah, well,
with Tyler and shit.
Right, at the time, who was young and what's his nuts? Batman.
Ben Affleck?
Yeah, Affleck. That's it.
Yeah.
I love Armageddon, dude. I watch that movie any day of the week.
See?
That's a good movie.
I like Deep Impact more.
Oh, yeah.
As far as like story and emotional wise, but Armageddon is just, I don't care. It's fun, man.
Yeah, well,
so
Deep
fun.
Impact is a fucking bummer.
That is a bummer, dude. That's a real fucking bummer movie.
Yeah, that's not exact. That is not a happy ending kind of movie, you know.
But great film, man.
Yeah,
I love it.
So hopefully this will have a happy ending. So they want to have the kids want to be astronauts. So it has to have a happy ending, right?
I would hope so. Hopefully it doesn't turn out like Gravity or whatever that movie was.
It's interesting too, just all this stuff that's going on with SpaceX and whatnot. Weren't you were telling me, they're not the only ones that are starting to develop this whole taxiing to space kind of thing?
Yeah. Was it Boeing has been trying to do it as well?
And Richard Branson from Virgin
as well?
Yeah.
He's been doing. I think he was like the first guy, right?
Yeah.
But I think he ran into some issues. I think one of his things exploded and somebody died.
Oh.
Oofa.
Yeah. So it seems like SpaceX has had the most success at this point to getting something to the space station and back safely. I think they have 20 successful missions doing that,
Oh, wow.
non-manned.
At least, yeah.
So soon they're going to send another shuttle capsule, is what they're calling them, to this station. But this is going to have actual astronauts on it.
Nice.
To give this the first try and come back.
And Musk wants us to go to Mars, so I'm fucking behind him all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be first step to space travel, Vito.
Except for those spacesuits. Did you guys see the stuff they had?
No.
That's kind of
Oh.
cool.
I
You
didn't
didn't
see
like
it.
them?
I think they look like fucking Halloween costumes.
Well, they are designed by Hollywood.
They are. That's true. That's
So.
right.
I thought they were kind of sleek and cool, and the helmets are 3D designed.
The helmets are really cool.
3D
I like the
printers.
helmets. Yeah.
So I thought they were pretty sleek and cool.
Just the way
They're
they
not
look.
as
I don't know.
bulky like you're a
That's
marshmallow
true.
man
Yeah.
trying to like blow up Ghostbusters and shit. So
Oh,
I thought they
man.
were kind of nice.
What were they saying about they anticipated people were going to start being taxied out there?
They're not taxing people out there. They're sending new shuttles out because the whole point of SpaceX and Boeing and stuff like that is like the taxi service kind of thing into outer space. But that leaves NASA free to do long travels and long expeditions and everything like that. And they anticipate sending in new shuttles out in 2021 and then in 2024 or something.
Yeah, because right now we're like relying on Russians to bring us up there in their Soyuz capsule or whatever it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think SpaceX I think we haven't launched a spaceship from American soil in like almost 10 years or something like that.
Yeah, it's been like 9 years.
That's crazy, man. We were on the fucking top of the world when it came to space travel.
It's because everybody
And
stopped
now,
caring.
I
about
know.
it.
It's just fucking so dumb.
It is dumb. It's short-sighted. You know, it's just like so many other things that get short-sighted, and we find ourselves in these like situations, you know, where we're like, oh no, what do we do now? And I'm like, well, that's what happens when you're short-sighted. That's why you need to always be thinking ahead. And space exploration and travel and colonization, and
It's imperative to our survival.
it really is.
You start building those Deep Space Nine space
There
stations
you
and
go.
shit.
Yeah.
Get us up there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't see how people, you know, and I wonder, after the current situation we're in right now, will that possibly start to trigger more people thinking about that? Because, you know, I think everybody's gotten so comfortable and so used to, like, you know, well, I've got every creature comfort of Earth here, you know. It's like, as long as I got my beer and my takeout food and the 70-inch TV, and I've got all these stuff, you know, at my whim, and I've got cars that can park themselves now and all sorts of other shit, and I can work from home and blah, blah, blah. And everybody's like, well, who gives a fuck about space exploration? It's like, and then a pandemic happens. And then they're like, and it's like, well, you know, okay, well, what do we do about this pandemic? It's like, oh, kind of nothing. You're just more or less going to have to wait it out till we find some meds and some vaccines and stuff. But in the meanwhile, you guys are just going to have to kind of deal with it. And yeah, we think this is going to happen more and more, by the way. And everybody's like, oh, then maybe we need to start thinking ahead and advancing science, whether it's studying and preparing for disasters and stuff, or even, and like I said, going into outer space. What if we needed to get a large group of people just off this fucking planet permanently or for like, say, even just temporarily in order to preserve the human race or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the Stargate under Cheyenne Mountain's not going to be there forever. We got to figure something else out.
Exactly. But, I think that that's the kind of stuff that 10 years ago or 15 years ago, the average young person or something would have said, like, that's stupid.
Whatever.
Who cares? I don't care about that shit.
Dude, when I was a teen in the 90s, man, it was all about, we're going to go to Europa. We've got this plan to go to Europa, go underneath the waters with this robot. We're going to have a hotel in space by 2020. The Japanese wanted to make a hotel in space by 2020.
Right.
We're going to be on Mars by 2025, 2030. And it's like none of that had even been talked about after that.
No.
Like, there's no plans for any of that shit.
No.
Pisses me off.
I know.
It's like, dude, by the time I'm 40 or 45, we're going to be there. It's going to be so awesome. And now it's like, I'm not going to see this. Probably in my lifetime, man.
I don't know. Because
maybe it will now if there's a renewed interest.
That's, yeah. And I
Need
think.
more little Musks running around.
Yeah.
So hopefully this movie will ignite that passion again in us.
But now I think you're starting to see more and more people going like, oh, okay. Like, I see the necessity behind this.
And who knows, the aliens might appear and just come and take you, Vito.
We can only hope.
Vito's like, I've been waiting and waiting.
Or give us the technology we need to make this happen faster so you can get in space.
Yeah.
You never know, man. You're still a fairly young guy. You're not even in your 40s yet. I would not be surprised if within the next 10 to 15 years, we see a major advancement in terms of people getting out to space. Hopefully, knock on wood, if things continue the way they're going. I don't know, man. I don't think it's unreasonable to think that in 15 years, we may have space stations out in space that people are. It may not just be like every, Joe Schmo that gets a fucking Groupon for it or something. It's like, hey, I got a Groupon for the Space Station 5 out there. We want to go? It's like, yeah, sure. I don't think it's going to be that basic. I think that's way down the line. But I do think it'll be more of a common thing and stuff. So
I'll need people to work up there so you can always apply for a job.
That's true. I was going to say that's a lot of jobs that can open up.
Exactly.
It really would be.
Imagine doing this podcast from Vito in space. It's a hell of a transmission.
Yeah, it's true.
Vito in space. I don't know that much about the moon, I have to admit. I have very basic knowledge of the moon. I don't know what there is to know about it other than some of the basic stuff. But do you think that there is any plausibility to them being able to build stations like on the moon?
They need to in order for deep space travel because of the helium-3, which is found on the moon that they can use as fuel. So the moon would be like a way station to gather fuel to get to Mars or someplace else.
Are you being serious
yes,
right
I
now?
am.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I can never tell if it's like, no, this is actually out of this fucked up movie I watched on Tubi last week, No, seriously, go on.
No, that's been a plan that NASA's had. Is they need to set up some kind of base on the moon to act as a halfway point between astronauts transitioning from Earth to another ship or whatever to go to Mars.
Oh, okay.
And for water and stuff like that. That would be like, hopefully this happens, but they want to do like asteroid mining where they send out mining ships. They come back, the moon processes it, sends it back down to Earth, and we trade supplies like that. Yeah.
That would be awesome. So the moon really would be like a satellite in a sense, not just a term for it being a satellite object. I mean, it could be like an actual station. I just don't know that much about like the conditions on the moon. Like, are they fairly stable?
So it's 1/6 gravity of Earth.
Right.
There's no atmosphere, obviously. So you'd have to live under domes, or I don't even know if you could live underground.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think you can.
And that's all I got.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Is I don't know too much about it. But I mean, it's not like being on Mars where they have like storms and things like that.
No.
Because there's no atmosphere.
Correct. Yeah.
Even imagine you have to worry about, since there's no atmosphere, like shit hitting, like asteroids and
radiation,
sun flares,
and
shit like that.
Yeah, radiation's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, so you'd have to what you can do is you can use the moon soil, and I guess you could turn it into like bricks or some kind of glass that would protect you from the radiation.
Okay.
I think that's one of the things they want to do.
Okay.
Yeah, whereas on Mars, like you do have the atmosphere, but since it's so low and the pressure's so low, a storm doesn't really have that much kick to it, but it'll just blow up dust.
Mm-hmm.
But if you stood outside on Mars, you wouldn't get like blown over by heavy winds or something like that.
Okay.
But still, you'd have to live underground on Mars because of the radiation, unless you built some kind of dome.
On Mars or the moon?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, so when they say they're going to film this, well, I don't know if you have any more details. When they say they're going to film a Tom Cruise movie in space, do they mean it's going to literally be like in space, like on a craft, or are they going to try to like go to the moon and do it or something?
No, it said it's going to be on the International Space Station.
I see.
Is what it said, because they've already had the successful missions to there unmanned, so they know they can get there easily and get Tom Cruise there safely. Hopefully safely.
There's an astronaut named Chris Hadfield who shot a music video on this International Space Station.
Really?
He did a cover of
Space Oddity by Bowie or something.
Yeah. He plays guitar. He brought his guitar on the space station. It's actually pretty neat. You should check it out. Chris Hadfield. I've got his audiobook too. It's really good.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, while I'm thinking of movies and space-related movies and all that kind of stuff, another thing that somebody posted in the squad that I got pretty excited about, and I'm sure you guys don't give a damn about it, unfortunately, is that they're coming out with like a 4K deluxe box set version of 1980s Flash Gordon movie. One of the greatest movies ever made.
Okay.
If you say so.
Dude, that movie's so fucking awesome. It's got this incredible soundtrack, one of the best soundtracks ever made for a movie. It's got Max von Sydow as Ming the fucking Merciless. Come on, man, that movie's great. I work out to that soundtrack all the time because who doesn't want to be Flash Gordon? You're a New York Jets quarterback.
Vito, apparently.
I raised my hand.
Vito just raised his hand like on me. You're a New York Jets quarterback that accidentally gets blasted out into space, and you have to save the Earth from imminent destruction. Have you ever seen it?
I've got a Flash Gordon Goes to Mars serial from like the 40s or 50s upstairs on DVD.
Bitch, that ain't the same thing.
I'll take that one over the movie.
You've never seen it.
I've seen parts of it with the guys with
enough.
the flying suits or whatever.
The Hawkmen.
Yeah.
Brian Blessed is Prince Vultan. That's one of the best characters of all time. This is not up for debate.
Then why have I never heard of him, Larry?
Brian Blessed? Well, because you're not British. He's a very well-known British actor. Because he doesn't star in
British actor is not all-time actor.
He's one of the greatest characters of all time.
Oh, okay.
Voltan, is that what
Prince Vultan.
Oh, he's a prince.
Dude, yeah, Vultan. He's the leader of the Hawkmen. And then Timothy Dalton plays Prince Baron, and he lives on like this planet where it's more like trees and swamps and stuff like that.
That was definitely pre-Bond, right?
Yes, pre-Bond. Yeah. Because at that time it was Roger Moore was.
Yeah, because Dalton was like 87 or 86 or something.
Yeah, and this is 1980. So I mean, it's campy and ridiculous, granted, but I don't even want to hear it because both of y'all watch some campy and ridiculous motherfucking movies. So,
We each have our weakness.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, this was all filmed, 40 some odd years ago.
You don't want movies 40 years ago in 4K, guys. I'm sorry. You don't.
But, if it's got like enhanced soundtrack, and sound and effects and various things, and if it comes with a bunch of extras and all that stuff, I'm all in. I definitely want it. Because Flash Gordon's never been like super heavily merchandised. There is merchandise out there, and most of it's come out in like the last 5 to 10 years. So it's kind of cool. So I'm just excited about that. So I'm sure some of you out there have to be fans of this incredible movie, just like I am, unlike these schmoes I'm sitting here with. So for all of you out there, look it up. When there's more information about it, I'll post it. If somebody else doesn't already do it, I'll post it over in the Geeking Squad, and you can check it out there.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal: providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
I think it is about time that we delve into the main topic of Squad Talk.
I saw an article about how like the movie theater industry is being affected by everything going on. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Okay.
It's like a side effect I personally never saw coming. Forever changed how we see movies.
Yeah.
Because like, was it Universal released Trolls directly to TV instead of releasing it in the movie theater? And they're like, hey, this could be, what they say, the sea of change. Like, this could be just how it happens anymore. And then AMC theaters are like, well, if you're going to do that, fuck you then. We ain't ever going to show any of your movies. How do you like that?
Right.
And then Universal started backpedaling. I was like, whoa. We didn't say we didn't like the movie experience. It's just, this could be the new, how it is now.
It was stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very stupid.
It sounded like they were kind of trying to backpedal there at the end.
Yeah, because they would have been fucked and they probably are fucked if AMC sticks to their guns and doesn't show their stuff in the theaters.
If AMC even makes it through this.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing, too, that also, I don't know if you were aware, but even prior to that whole incident happening, AMC had been reporting at the start of the whole onset of the pandemic and everything that they were really concerned that they wouldn't be able to make it through a shutdown because they've been in kind of dire straits anyway.
Right.
I think that it was even more of a kick in the ass from Universal to then turn around and say, hey, we know your theater's already struggling. We know you're going to be struggling through all this, but we don't care. We just care more about...
We need our money.
We need our money, and we need it now. So, fuck you. We're just going to put this out direct, to direct buy at home or whatever the hell it was. I think that was really short-sighted on their part. I mean, we don't know what happens behind the scenes and if there were conversations, but they should have at least sat down with AMC and all of them and whoever else and said, look, here's the situation. We don't want to fuck over your movie theater and everything, but we have to get our money back on this because we're going to be the next one.
We can't just sit on it forever.
We can't sit on it.
Definitely.
Right. I understand Universal's predicament with that. But I think that they were just a little too eager to, wave that victory flag about it.
Right. And they completely shut out AMC because they made like millions of dollars and they kept most of it, where if they showed it in the theater, they would have had to pay half to AMC. Right. And they just completely shut them out and fucked them over.
So they made that much money off streaming, huh?
Yeah.
So streaming is that powerful?
Well, but
is it? That's the debate now, is if...
Yeah.
Is it just that strong, or is it because of the circumstances? Everybody was at home, all the kids were home, parents are home, needing something to do with the goddamn kids.
Yeah.
Just shut them up for a couple of hours. Is that why it did so well? Or is it just streaming is the future?
I think it sort of is. I mean, we can even see it now. I mean...
I think it is. I think streaming, in a sense, is the future. I just don't think it's exactly correct the way they're viewing it, because they're looking at it, this one movie, and they're like, oh, wow, well, we just put this out direct, and we made so much more actual profit from it because it, sold so well, and it did so well and everything. And I'm like, but like Meg said, you put it out at a time where, A, you have no competition from any other movies, newly released movies and movie theaters and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody can go to the theater. There's a ton of other movies that were supposed to be coming out at the same time that didn't come out because other studios said, no, we'll wait. We're going to hold on to it. Now, if you told me they had put that out a year ago and said, you know what, we're going to forget all the normal stuff. We're just going to put this out direct, blah, blah, blah. And they put it out direct like that. And at the same time that it's competing with, the new Marvel movie and the new Lego movie and all this other stuff that's out at theaters. And they make some amazing showing by putting it direct to home. Then I might sit there and go, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, all three of us are such big fans of not just movies, but the movie-going experience.
It's just like on the last podcast, we talked about concerts. Like you just mentioned about how, is it the death of the concert? Is it going to be online now? I was like, I don't think it should be, because we enjoy the experience of going to the movies.
Yeah.
Dropping a shit ton of money just to see one, but we still enjoy it.
Right.
Same thing for concerts, even. There's so many fees and shit. But
I mean, there's some movies that lend themselves to the movie theater experience, and then some I don't think you need to go to the theater to go see. Like if it's an independent, mumblecore movie, like you're probably not going to spend the big IMAX movie to go money to go see that. But an Endgame, you have to go to the theater to go see that movie, at least when it first comes out.
Oh man!
And what was that, Godzilla?
Yeah.
Versus Monsters or whatever it was.
Like those
that
big
we went and saw?
quote unquote blockbuster movies are made for the theater experience.
Yeah. And that's what they were saying in this article is like, okay, Trolls did really well, but nobody's even trying to put out some of these big blockbuster movies to try it on that. They're waiting for the theater experience to make their big money.
Yeah.
Right. And again, like I said, if all the movie studios right now worked out some kind of deal with AMC and Marcus Cinemas and whomever else, and worked out a deal to say, hey, look, we're losing our ass by sitting on these movies and not putting them out. Okay, we have to get them out there somehow. If they sat down and worked out some sort of deal with the theaters where the theaters would maybe get some sort of cut or have some sort of something there that would help them and keep good faith with them, but still help the studios to get their product out, I would totally understand. And I think that right now they would do gangbusters. But to sit there and say, well, this is the way from here on out, it's like, well, but hopefully this situation isn't going to last forever that we're in.
Right.
And if anything, it's going to be the total opposite. Once everything is like open and ready to go again,
they're going to be ran over with people.
People are going to
see the movies.
Right. And if you're the fucking schmo that put your movie out direct to home at the same time that everybody can suddenly rush out and go to the theater and all that kind of stuff and go see the new Wonder Woman or Maverick or whatever else is coming out, I think you're going to see some real interesting numbers there, where all of a sudden that direct to home isn't going to look quite as appealing. You were also telling me earlier there's a
third option that some of these movie theaters are starting to do is turning their parking lots into drive-ins.
Okay.
And then I'm also starting to see more and more states and stuff building drive-ins. And I think that could be a fun solution for everybody, is to go back to drive-ins for a while, and maybe they'll stick around because technology is different now.
Yeah. Have you ever gone to a drive-in?
No.
Really?
Yeah. I never saw the appeal of it.
Well, see, and that's
because don't you have that little small radio box thing?
There you go.
That's the technology I'm talking about.
See, and that's why I asked, and that's a valid thing. Okay, here's my thing. I know there's a lot of people that seem skeptical about the return of a drive-in, and people say, oh well, the drive-in, it went extinct for a reason and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, but those reasons don't really hold anymore. Because like she just said, technology is different. Drive-ins now, like there's a drive-in that's out closer to her house that's way more modern, like the screen, like the quality of the video that you see, the film, it looks really good. Now, like your sound comes through your car stereo.
Oh, you like tune into their broadcast?
Oh,
no
yeah.
shit.
And
okay,
so the better stereo you have, the better sound you get.
Yeah, that's true.
Fuck yeah. Plus, it's like, think about it. Like, how much fun would the three of us have if we went, in her car or something like that with a really good stereo? We can talk if we wanted to amongst ourselves. We could be on the phone.
We could record ourselves watching it.
Yeah.
There's also, you can go pick up your own food. We could go get fucking Giordano's or some shit and bring it with, and sit in the car, eat, watch it. If you want to get up and just stretch your legs a little bit, you can. There's still bathrooms, there's still a concession stand there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's kind of cool. I wouldn't necessarily want to see every movie there because it's still not the same as being in that.
You don't have the Dolby surround sound and all that.
In that theater like that and feeling, and sometimes having, like you just mentioned Endgame. Like, man, the experience of seeing that with other people in the theater and having our seats rumble and all that other shit, like, makes that experience so much better.
Or the Rise of Skywalker, where they revealed
Yeah.
the name, and the guy behind us, oh, fuck, whatever it was. The whole theater starts laughing.
Yeah, that was funny.
But I think it could be a good, at least temporary solution, and to bring it back and make it more modern. So you could have the option to go see it. You could fucking take all your kids there.
Yeah.
And they can all sit in the car and eat and have a good time. And if they're talking, who cares?
That's
or they're
true.
crying, who cares?
Yeah, you're not bothering anybody.
Yeah, you're in your own car.
And the experience of being in your car anymore is not what it was years ago. Like, most people like to be in their car now. It used to be that cars were, people had nice cars and stuff, but the level of comfort and the technology and all that stuff that people have in their cars now, you can live in your fucking car. It wasn't like back in the day when you were going in your 76 old Cutlass or something, That's what I owned when I was. That's a great fucking car, man. I love that car, but it isn't a car I'd want to live in. You know what I mean? Now most people have these like mini SUVs and these other things like that, and fuck, super warm reclined seats that do all this.
There's YouTube channels where people literally just live in their Toyota Highlander
Right.
and just go off road, and that's all they do is they live in there and make a fucking YouTube channel off of it. So
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So I really think that the drive-in experience is underrated right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
It doesn't help that they show movies so infrequently. It's like you have this day and this day between this time, and it's these two movies, and that's it. So hopefully with the rise of these, it will become more like the movie theater experience, where it's every night, and this night is this night is this, and it's usually a double feature, so you get two movies at once.
Yeah, that's even better,
Yeah.
Although they may change that, because if they're trying to pick up more slack and show more
Yeah, maybe they'll do an
movies.
early show and an afternoon show or something. You could buy tickets to both, or
Right.
they clear you. I don't know. Yeah.
But drive-ins historically were always like double features or sometimes even triple.
wow,
I can't. Yeah, that's a long
6
time.
hours in your car to watch.
Well, that's why I've told you, like, here's the thing. Over where I live, we used to have the 41 drive-in. It was on US 41 Calumet Avenue. Very well-known drive-in. And that was where I saw a huge majority of the movies I saw as a kid. Like, probably 60 to 70% of all movies I saw from when I was however old, 3 years old or something, up until I was, probably like around 8 or 9. I forget when exactly it disappeared. They got rid of it with a lot of other drive-ins in the early 80s. But all the movies I saw in the 70s, most of them I saw at the 41 drive-in. The rest of them I saw at the River Oaks Theater and various others and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I would see, like, they would take me to go see a movie, like, say I wanted to go see Close Encounters when I was like 4 years old or 5 years old, right? And they'd take me to go see that. Well, here's the problem. A lot of times they would take, especially back in those days, they would take a sci-fi movie like that, and they would pair it up with something that was really more like a horror movie. So, like, when I went and saw Close Encounters, the movie that played before it was a movie called Prophecy from the 70s.
Okay.
And it was about this weird creature thing. I don't remember the whole thing. It was fucking scary. I mean, like, even now, it's like, like, it's a horror movie. And then I have to sit through that. And it was like, what did you guys take me to? I was like, my parents are just like, oh, yeah, it's probably not good for them. But the other problem with that, too, was they would take me to see a movie I really wanted. And that movie wouldn't end up starting until like 10:30 or something at night, or 10 o'clock at night. I'd never make it through that
So you'd be
movie.
sound asleep by then.
Every time. Do you know how many times my parents took me to see Grease? They took me to see it because I kept being like, I want to see, because I heard the soundtrack all the time, and I loved the soundtrack because they loved it, you know? And I'd be like, I want to see Grease, I want to see Grease. And they took me like 3 different times, and I fell asleep every fucking time. So eventually they were like, okay, we're not going to see Grease anymore. You're just going to wait. And then we got a video very shortly thereafter. And everything. Yeah, I think that could be a good option. I don't know. There is no perfect solution for the situation that we're in right now.
Yeah, for any part of it. But.
Right. But I do hope that maybe a good side effect of all the shit we're going through is, like I brought this up in the last show, is that maybe this will force people to try new things that otherwise they would never get greenlit, you know, or they
right.
would, or they, you know, now they're having to do it out of like necessity and desperation. And I think some of those things like this, like the drive-in thing, could be one of those. Maybe.
Yep. We'll have to see. I think it'd be fun if we go see a drive-in movie. Yeah.
Maybe.
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 Vito's like, I still don't know about this.
You got to do it at least once.
Yeah.
You know.
We'll find a good movie.
Yeah, we should find
Try
some.
it.
We'll go. Yeah, because there's a couple of different drive. There's the one out right by you.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's 1 or 2 others in like around in the Midwest here. But I'm not totally sure where they're at.
And who knows? Some of the theaters might be doing those drive-in parking lot theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until they're allowed to fully open. We'll see.
What do you suggest?
All right, guys. Well, I think it's been a pretty good show, and we've had a lot to talk about. And now, as usual, the precedent we have set is that we will go out with some of our recommendations for stuff that we think you guys out there, you guys and gals and groovy guys out there ought to check out. Meg, do you got something you want to recommend?
I have food I'm going to recommend.
Oh.
It's silly little food. A coworker brought me the other day, and it is Uncrustables peanut butter and honey. Fucking love Uncrustables to begin with.
Okay.
They're so good.
Yeah.
I've
they're
never
pretty good.
heard of Uncrustables.
I don't understand how it's possible. It's like in a purple and white checkered box in the freezer section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
all right. Well, so
You're
they're
missing
really
out,
good.
dude.
Yeah, you're missing out. So they're usually peanut butter and grape jelly, but this is peanut butter and honey on like wheat bread, except it doesn't taste like usual wheat bread. It's really good actually. And I don't know, it was to die for. So amazing. So that is my recommendation. Everybody go out and get Uncrustables peanut butter and honey. You won't regret it.
How many calories are they?
I don't know. They're tiny little things. They're not going to be that much. It's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, for Christ's sake.
I understand that, but you know what? I go and I eat a cookie or I eat a donut or a Pop-Tart or all that, and I'm like, look at this little thin small thing. This can't be that bad. And then I eat it, and then I look later and I'm like, holy shit, that was so loaded with calories and stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Amount per serving one sandwich is 200 calories.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? You're like, it's so small, it doesn't even matter.
You can have 10 of them, dude, and that's your meal for the day.
Dude.
That'd be a good meal.
Okay, well,
I'd be good with that. Actually.
Okay, well, first of all, Vito, you're a much bigger guy than me, and 2,000 calories a day is probably, if I eat 2,000 calories a day, I'm going to be rolling around here like Uter from The Simpsons.
Isn't that your daily recommended calorie intake for people?
Yeah, it kind of.
Does it vary by weight and stuff?
It varies by weight and stuff. I mean, realistically, if I eat more than 1,500 a day, I'm going to gain weight, and I have. And I have gained weight because I'm not following that. So yeah, no, I mean right off the bat, just hearing that it's like, oh well, it's like bread and it's honey and it's peanut butter, and I'm like, yeah, okay, there's no way in hell this is like healthy, you know.
But it's Uncrustable. Does it have a crust?
That's true.
I like crust.
I don't.
Really?
Not on my peanut butter and jelly, especially.
What am I doing here? Jesus.
It's like that Billy kid from the Bill Nye the Science Guy TV show. Did you guys ever watch Bill Nye?
No.
Oh, never mind then. Billy, you have to eat your crust.
Ugh.
This kid, he never wanted crust on his white bread.
Yep.
No.
There's
I'm
a
with
lot.
them.
There's a lot of people like that, but I love the crust. A lot of times is my favorite part.
I guess for me, it depends on the bread. I use this buttermilk bread that I get from, I forgot what the company name is, like Countryside or something like that. But that's the only bread I like.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like the top part and sometimes the sides, but the bottom I can't stand.
Really?
Yeah.
I hate the butt end of bread.
Yeah.
Does anybody even eat that?
Eat that? Mm.
What the ends on
The
like
end
sliced
end.
bread?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You do, of course you
I
do.
always do.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that goes
No,
right in the garbage
yeah,
first
me
thing.
too.
Really?
Yeah, never eat it.
I'll save them for if you want them.
Yeah, fuck it, I'll eat them. I don't
You know when
need
you
to
say
be.
bread to go feed the ducks at the park, this one's just to feed Larry.
You're gonna take tear off a little piece and toss it at him.
Yeah, we'll be sitting here recording, and then Vito's just gonna every now and then throw me a fucking crust of bread. I'll catch it in my mouth. Nope. All right, Vito. What about you? You got anything to recommend?
I've got a movie that I watched on Netflix called The Platform. It came out this year. It's a Spanish film.
Okay.
If you guys are familiar with Cube, the movie, this is sort of
Okay.
kind of like that. A bunch of prisoners get put in this vertical, like, tower prison system, and there's this platform of food, and there's like 200 something levels, and the food starts at the top, a full like smorgasbord of food, and it has to go through each level, and at every level you get to eat as much food as you can until the platform drops. So if you're at level 200, there's literally no food left for you because everybody takes some from
Wow.
the top, and you're stuck there, and you get put in there randomly with people, and you're stuck there for like a couple weeks at a time, and then you get shifted to a different level. So you could show up at level 1 and be set for those 2 weeks because you get whatever food you want, or you could wake up and you're at level 200 and you're totally fucked. It's like this weird horror sci-fi film.
It's like a horror movie for fat people. It's like that's the worst thing that could ever happen.
And there's
They're
like
stuck in their own
there's
personal
like
hell.
murders that happen in the prison
Oh,
and stuff.
yeah.
It's and everybody's like, you need to give me this food. We have to save the food. There's like 2 different camps. It's really cool, man. You gotta check it out.
Interesting.
Yeah, that sounds weird. That sounds right up your alley.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like a fucked up Hunger Games.
Yeah, sort of.
Mm.
It's fucking super Hungry Games. You know. Yeah, that sounds right up your alley, dude, with it being cube like that, because I know you're all about that kind of stuff.
All about the cube, man.
Yep. All right. Well, for me, my recommendation is a series, a little kind of documentary type series that is on Netflix called History 101.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple times. I'm interested to check it out, though.
Yeah, it's really cool. Each episode features like a different topic. Like one episode will be all about like the phenomenon of fast food. Another one will be like talking about like the space race, just different things of life, predominantly like, American related kind of centric life and everything. But each episode is, they sort of use like archival footage and news bits and stuff to kind of piece together like a little story about it. And the episodes I don't think they're not very long. So it's pretty digestible. It's not like a Ken Burns documentary series where you got to give up like a couple of weeks of your life to get through it. I love Ken Burns documentary series. I'm not bagging on it, but it's nowhere near that involved. They're like little easy digestible, like a lot of the things on Netflix, like I like the toys that made us, and the movies that made us, all those. I love those like little things that it's like quick and easy for me to watch while I'm just like eating my lunch or something like that. I don't have to invest a whole lot of time, but they're still like informative, Yeah, this History 101 is like that. So it's one season is available right now on Netflix, and I forget how many episodes there are. Maybe 10.
I was going to say, this seems like there's usually 10.
Yeah, I think it's
on
10.
Netflix.
I think it's 10. I think it's time to get the hell out of here. It has been a lot of fun talking, and we got through 2 episodes now, and we're going to keep them coming.
Mm-hmm.
And so we suggest that all of you, if you have not already, please log into your Facebook, find the Geeking Squad group, and send us a request to join the group. It doesn't cost anything. We want everybody in there, and it's just a place for people to share funny memes and articles and stuff. There's no politics, there's no religion, there's nothing like super controversial in there. We don't really allow that, but all the things you hear us talk about here on the show comes from the stuff that we and all of you share in that group. So hope we see you over there. And we also, of course, want to hear what you guys think about our show, so make sure you leave us comments.
Yes.
Reviews help as well.
Oh man,
Those 5-star reviews, we love those.
yeah. Any reviews? I mean, just give us reviews. We need reviews.
Somebody talk to us.
Yeah, exactly. We're just floating out here, kind of like somebody reel us in.
And if you want to head over to our Patreon page and give us some love and support over there, we always appreciate that. We definitely want to give you a shout out on our podcast as well. And we also have special content that's just for our patrons.
Outtakes and bloopers and when we're going to be doing more stuff like that. And we need feedback from you guys as to what you would like to see on there. Like we're happy to do this show for nothing for you. You can download the podcast for free. You can watch YouTube for free. You can join the squad group for free. But any bit of support is a major help to us and helps us continue to build this show and do more. So what would you like to see on the Patreon page that would make you want to be a patron of ours? Let us know. And if you're like, fuck you guys, there ain't nothing you can do to make me be one of your patrons, then hey, so,
all right.
So be it, but let us know, because we like that feedback, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So I think with that, it is time to say adieu.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
Adios.
See ya.
Sayonara.
Talk to you soon. We'll be back with episode 3. Bye.
Bye.